Hey folks, this is Bailey from Dank Wargaming.
Hey, this is Heath with Team Table War Hawaii.
And welcome to The Path to Redemption, the Warhammer 40,000 Dark Angels podcast, where we try and help fellow Dark Angels players gain the tactical and hobby skills they need in order to enjoy this wonderful hobby of ours. In this month's episode, we go over the new Horus Heresy releases and how they could, fit in with 40k. Heath and I will also tackle the massive data dump that is the tournament results from this month, and it is our featured segment as well. This is a featured segment Wombo Combo Meta Watch because there is just
we didn't have time to do anything else. There's just so much. There's a lot.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
I mean, it's great. Like this is like literally the dream Meta Watch that we're getting
there's
all these
a lot.
Results.
So it'll all right.
And then we have our look at our monthly hobby challenge, and then last but not least, we'll look over our community comments for the month. So. First off, the new releases. So a lot of those. We've got some of the stuff from the box set that came out, the Age of Darkness. We have some stuff come out in singles, such as the Praetors, the Legion Praetors. Both of them are $33.50 US dollars. The Spartan Assault Tank came out at $112. The Contemptor at $60. But you can get the upgrade weapons frames for $27. There's sort of there's gun frame, 2 gun frames. You can also get the Leviathan Siege Dreadnought for $80. He also comes with some $27 weapon frames. There are some Terminators, the Tartarus, and the Cataphracti. Both came out, both $85 each. But the cool part is that you get 10 Terminators.
I was about to ask. So that's good. That is literally half the price that you were getting them for on secondary. I think I paid $85 for 5. When I tried to flesh out my 10-man Relic Terminator squad. So, yeah, supply and demand works.
Yep.
So,
yeah. And I think also part of it, from what I understand for people that play a lot of 30K, you just need so many more models to play 30K that the idea that you would get them in 10-man blocks just makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it works out better for us because instead of spending $120 for a Terminator squad, you're getting it for $85. So, fantastic.
It's still a lot of money. I'm not going to say it's not. No. Like, look at this, like how many models you put out, and like how much does somebody walks by? How much does this cost? Like, well, each of these little dudes is $8. Oh no, yeah. That's so much. But
that's that's why I've been playing a lot of historicals this last year at less than $1 a mini.
Said the quiet part out loud.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I guess I said it, so that's on me. Don't let your significant others watch this podcast. Or do. That's cool. Fair. Like, share, and subscribe. What's up? Yeah.
So that is our new releases for the month. So all those wonderful Forge World minis are now available in 40K. And did the Sicarian come out this month too? I think that came out already. I think they already came out.
I think that already came out. Yeah. They're cool. I'm not gonna say they're not cool. I don't know how useful they are in the current 40K meta, but is what it is. So, look, Contemptor Dreadnoughts are great.
It's $80.
Go ahead.
Sorry, the Carrion did come out, and it's $80. It's in that new release.
That's not bad. No, yeah, the Contemptors are good. I've had a lot of luck with them. We can chat briefly about some of the games I was able to play this last month. And
nice.
Yeah, Dreadnoughts. I think Dreadnoughts do have a place. They really do. But yeah. So okay. Well, shall we crack on to just the Strategium? Just talk about all this data we have.
Oh yes. So we have.
Oh man, it's so much. It's so much.
Well, and the other cool part is it's all over the world. Like this isn't just located in a particular part of the country where all these Dark Angels results are. We're having Dark Angels results globally. So this is fantastic for us to see that there are Dark Angels players all over the world and they're doing very well. So our first event was the DZTV GT at the Factorium on July 30th. This was in England. And we have an 8th place finish for J.C. Barham. Yeah, something like that.
We'll go with that. Sorry, bro. Hopefully you listen to the show.
If it's not correct, comment below. We'll try and get it right. So in this list, let's see what he's got. So we've got an Outrider to get started, We've got the Talon Master with the Arbiter's Gaze. He is the Warlord. I don't see a trait listed. Remember, this is the new meta that we don't have to have traits. We have Samael as well. Then we have a 6-man, 1, 2, 3,
6-man block of 6-man block of Black Knights.
The podcast, Heath.
I'm not going to claim that. I hope we have that much influence, but hopefully he did better than I did. So,
and he has another 3-man squad. So he's got 9.
6-man block of Black Knights, 3 Black Knights. Yeah, okay. Then Land Speeder Vengeance with a heavy bolter.
2 Thunder Strikes. 2 Dark Talons. There we go.
I love me some Dark Talons, bro. So Thunder Strikes, those are the hit on 2 ones that have the double shot Last Talon, the double shot Storm Fury missiles. A bit more AP and a bit more range than the rest of the Storm Speeder lineup. So, you can listen to some of the previous stuff. Yeah, about what we've had to say about that. Adam Camilleri is a big fan of those. Yeah. I'm changing my mind. I'm kind of leaning into that too now. If I had multiple of them, I might take them, but we'll get there.
The double Dark Talon, because with this particular piece of tech, you always need 2. If there's a toy you want to play with, always bring 2. So we can actually play with them.
Those dark. So I'm really actually thinking those Dark Talons are kind of gonna, like, especially with the demons coming out and with their unmodifiable demonic invulnerability saves, like Mortal Wound spam and Hurricane Bolters are really, like, they're looking spicy. So
excellent. Help deal with the fact that Armor of Contempt makes a lot of what made them cool not so cool. Well, if people aren't playing with Marines because they're playing all that new Demon Spice, things should work out again. And then, in addition to this, he also has Chaplain on Bike, who's the hero of the chapter. He's a Wise Orator. He's a Master of Sanctity, Catechism of Fire, Recitation of Focus. So those are the +1s to hit and wound, I believe.
So Catechism of Fire, if I recall correctly, that's the one that gives you the immediately a unit can get +1 to wound the closest target in shooting.
Right.
If I recall correctly, and I'm going to go try and look it up real quick, just to double check that.
Well, I'm happy to see that, because the way we've been talking about how things have been rolling, the sort of classic Chaplain build of Mantra of Strength and the Canticle of Hate, so you have the better Deep Strike and Charge. We've been doing that for quite some time, I feel like, as a community. I know I have been. And moving away from that to trying some of the other prayers, I think will be nice and refreshing for people, especially since the other ones, they are really good for what we do. We're a shooting faction at the end of the day. As much as I like to go out and punch things, the Dark Angels chapter traits are built for shooting. A lot of our stuff is built for shooting with all the rerolls built in by the fact that we have 3 chapter masters, essentially. So we can get 3 full rerolls into our army if we really want to. And now we can, then you have a chaplain adding +1 to wound.
Yeah, so Catechism of Fire is +1 to wound the closest target with ranged weapons. What do you think his intent for the target, like for the target for that is? It has to be core character. So I think it's probably that big unit of Black Knights, or the 6-man unit of Black Knights. And then Recitation of Focus is the +1 to hit for this, but there's no restriction on closest model, so closest unit. So the chaplain is buffing, range shooting, which is an interesting way to do a chaplain on a bike. I'd be curious to see like what his formation is, like how he maneuvers and positions the list. My experience is that those Black Knights just don't have quite enough AP in order to really bring it home. But clearly he's got something figured out. Maybe the +1 to wound is really what's doing it. And the Black Knights are the only really viable targets for that. So he's got another unit of 3. Okay, so let's finish the list up. He's got a unit of 5 Incursors. Those are going to help you, sit on an objective early or screen things out just to create some space that you can basically operate in, so that they're not going to be able to forward deploy on you or move up on you. And he's got another unit of 3 Black Knights, and then a Redemptor Dreadnought. So the Redemptor Dreadnought's also a viable target for the Catechism of Fire and the Recitation of Focus. So this Redemptor Dreadnought, if you've never played with the Redemptor Dreadnought, they have bonkers amounts of shooting. They just go crazy. They like 2 Storm Bolters. Remember, Dreadnoughts benefit from Bolter Discipline, so that's 8 Bolter shots at 24 inches. This Icarus Pod, which is kind of bleh, but hey, it's more shooting. The Macroplasma, which is Strength 8, AP 4, 2 flat damage base, and overcharges to 3, weapons to 4, and it's Blast. It is a good gun. And an Onslaught Cannon, I'm telling you. Like, I've got one of these little... I've got one actually on my desk right now I'm working on. Look at this little guy.
All right, let's see him.
What's up, little guy? If it focuses in. Come on, camera. There we go.
Yeah.
Focus, yeah.
Look at him.
So, Onslaught Cannon underneath his little hand. And by the way, that little punchy fist wrecks house. So, yeah, they So, yeah, and with Armor Contempt, they don't really need Invul save, I don't think, not unless they're shooting like Necron Menhirs at it, right? AP -6 stuff, but So, yeah, So, what secondaries do you think this list takes?
Death on the Wind.
Obviously.
Yeah,
obviously, yeah,
and that was actually in the notes from Goonhammer. It's like Death on the Wind. I would take Assassinate with this because the one thing that makes Dark Talons really spicy, or flyers in general that people forget about, is that they fly over everything and can just park next to characters. Like if you can screen characters to the front, but against the bikes and things. But a Dark Talon will just fly over whatever the screen is, park right next to a character, and annihilate it. And you pick up 3 points. So I would definitely, depending on what my opponent's got, take Assassinate and definitely look for little places where you can set yourself up for it, where like you park the flyer as close as you can to the character and then shoot whatever the squad is around it with something else, and then have the Dark Talon nuke the character because he has mortal wounds, he has a bunch of bolter shots. Characters don't, especially those support characters we've been talking about with Martial Interdiction. Those characters do not like Dark Talons.
I think that Samael on this list is a really good vehicle to take Martial Interdiction. Speaking of, because he's just an assassin. He just like turn 2, turn 3, he just rolls in, knocks someone's head off, bounces out for 2 CP, and there's really not a lot you can do about it. One thing about and that helps you score Death on the Wind, obviously. One thing I remember I wanted to talk about in our last episode, but I forgot because whatever. So remember, Death on the Wind. What's the condition that you need to meet in order to score Death on the Wind? You have to move more than 12 inches. It has to be more than 12 inches, or complete a charge in that turn in order to score it. Landspeeder Vengeances have a move of 12 inches. So unless it's turn 1 or you advance, and you can't score Death on the Wind with a Landspeeder Vengeance. It doesn't have enough movement.
Right.
So that's something to be aware of. And how they FAQ Death on the Wind, it has to be total movement displacement. So if you're like trying to move around a corner, no, it has to be straight line distance as the crow flies or as the Landspeeder flies. So that's why I haven't leaned into like 3 Vengeances, because they can't actually score that unless it's turn 1, or you flip them back into the Devastator Doctrine and they move the additional 3 inches. So, but Thunderstrikes can. So yeah, and regular Landspeeders can. So that's why I'm a little shy on Landspeeder Vengeances. But so Martial Interdiction, Death on the Wind. How do you feel about engage on all fronts or behind enemy lines for this?
I feel pretty comfortable with both those because the bikes are so fast. Because don't forget, you can move bikes and then you can move them again if they give up basically everything else they do that turn. So you can really, if there's a gap, you can get them into a space. Plus, they've got the Corvus hammers on the Black Knights, so they've got a little extra punch to them than just like a chainsword or just a fist, like the regular bikers do. So I don't feel like, I'm not going to go charge them into an Abaddon or something, but if they need to go pick up and beat up some cultists or something, they're going to go beat up some cultists. Like, it's definitely a light cavalry unit. So I'm excited about that. And that's something also to think about with Incursors, because Incursors, their knives are inherently neg 1. So when they go to Assault Doctrine, there are -2 knives on those Incursors, which is what I like about them.
Okay.
Plus, they ignore ballistic
right.
skill modifiers into hit modifiers. So if you're going into a meta that has a lot of modifying of your ballistic skill, Incursors just ignore all that stuff, which is one of the secret tech pieces about them that I've always enjoyed over having Infiltrators. Although Infiltrators are also cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Infiltrators for the deep strike bubble, but God, they're expensive. They're so expensive. Yep. And you can definitely lean into making the Incursors do that thing, but 105 points for something that forward deploys is definitely interesting. So, yeah,
and has OBSEC.
And OBSEC.
Don't forget Scouts do have forward deploy, but no OBSEC.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
so
good job
on that. Interesting list. Yeah, good job, man. Like I've been a little sad face on Black Knights since my last term experience, but maybe what this guy's going is like, hey, don't make them your primary killing weapon. Just make them, pull back on them a little bit, a couple smaller units so they can do the push objectives early in the game, harass the the cultists, the nurglings, the tomb blades, that kind of stuff. They're perfectly capable of dealing with that. And I guess the flyers, the storm speeders are your killing power in this list. And Black Knights, they can't punch into a unit of possessed or like Deathwing Terminators, but all like lighter stuff like middle and down, they'll probably be okay. So
know what's missing from this list though, Heath? I just realized.
What's up?
There's no Apothecary. Jay did the thing, and I'm proud of you for doing it, Jay. You did the thing. You took the crutch and you just threw it away.
just threw it out. I don't need no. Yeah. Also notice there's no rights of war on the Talon Master.
Right.
Which means so OBSEC shenanigans aren't really a possibility. So this list starts with 2 CP, a third piece of information we need to provide. So it doesn't. This may look on the table like Death on the Way on this, but I think there's some tech about how he maneuvers and plays that shock tactics may be viable. So yeah. All right, ready to move on?
Love it. Yep, congrats, Jay, on that 8th place finish and a good list. All right, so we've got the 40K GT TJ Cafe and Games. This was 35 players, 5 rounds, and this was in Milford, Massachusetts. Paul Woodman was our player here, and I feel like I misplaced something. He was playing for top table, that's right. He was playing against the Craft World Eldar player in the top table, and his list is as follows. Let's see, we've got a patrol, and we've got Ezekiel and Infiltrators, 5 Infiltrators. Then we have a Vanguard with Ezreal as the Warlord, and then we have an Interrogator Chaplain, Master of Sanctity, Jump Pack, Wise Orator. He's got the Canticle of Hate.
And Litany of Faith. And Litany of Faith, to be noted, that's the one that gives you a 5-up bubble for a 6-inch bubble of 5-up Feel No Pain versus Mortal Wounds. So maybe he's thinking there's a lot of psychic spam in his meta.
Yeah, I could see that. So basically, you can turn on a chance of a die roll, you can turn this chaplain into Lazarus. Basically what.
Which is good functionality. Yeah.
Yes. Then we have the Deathwing Ancient with Pendant of Remembrance and Rites of War. So that's interesting there that you have.
That's old school. that's like 2021 Dark Angel play right there. Yeah.
Then we have 10-man Deathwing Knights. Then we have a big Deathwing Terminator squad with a Watcher in the Dark. It's got Storm Shield and Thunder, Hammer Sergeant, Cyclone Missile Launcher, and Chain Fist. Another Cyclone Missile Launcher, then Lightning Claws to wrap up the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then we've got a smaller squad that's Thunder Hammer.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, yep, you're right. There's 8... Yeah, there's 7 Lightning Claw, paired Lightning Claws, 2 Chain Fists with Cyclones, and the Sergeant with Thunderhammer Storm Shield. Okay. I hate the way that Battlescribe outputs this stuff. It's hard to break down sometimes.
Yeah. And then he has a smaller squad that also has a Watcher in the Dark. So he's obviously worried about psychic powers if he's putting Watchers in all of his Terminator squads.
With Azrael and Ezekiel, yeah.
Yep. and then he's got the got Thunderhammer Storm Shield on the Sergeant, then another Cyclone Chain Fist, and then more Lightning Claws. So he looks like the Lightning Claws are there to try and make everything cheaper. Like he's just looking for points. And I can see why, because he has
Lightning Claws are effective. Like they're effective.
And they got the reroll.
Especially when you get to the Assault
Doctrine.
Nice. Free rerolls. So yeah, free rerolls, 2 extra attacks. Like hey, yeah, they'll make you take a bunch of saves and then just not die in return and just keep. And remember, Ezekiel has a built-in Honor of Vehement, so he'll keep everything under the effect of Shock Assault. So,
oh yeah, so good.
Yep.
And then we've got Ravenwing Apothecary makes his glorious return. So there he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the Astartes grenade launcher, so he has the stasis grenade tool if he needs it. And then we have Relic Terminators, 5 of them, Kami Bolter, and Lightning Claw, and this list is 2K right on the nose. So that's also, you get a lot more because a standard Power Fist Bolter guy costs more than double Lightning Claws. So going to the Lightning Claw Terminators, in most cases, it does help. You can get a couple more models in there.
It's 5 points cheaper. So this list has 5, 10... 20, 30, this list has 30 Deathwing Terminators, 10 of which are Deathwing Knights, right? And we didn't mention, but the Deathwing Knight Master has the Mastercrafted Flail.
Oh, he has. Oh, nice.
He has the Mastercrafted Flail. So yeah, this is just this is a we've seen how this list plays. You're going to probably combat squad a couple things, or you got 2 small units of 5. You could deep strike those things in, try and make a bunch of charges. He's got the +2 to charge. He doesn't have a reroll charge with a champion, but hey, +2 to charge, 7 to charge is still pretty good.
Yep.
So I don't like. Pardon me. This list. Only thing I think it's going to struggle with is against armies like Sisters and Necrons that score lots of points early on the primary. That's the only thing I think this might struggle with. But if you're really, really cagey with your deep strike strategy, then you might be able to do something about it. So,
and this list ended up losing the final round, 82 to 76 to a Craft Worlds list. Which, if you go to the Doomhammer website and go through their August tournament results, they have a pretty good breakdown on both lists. You can figure out, kind of where you think the Eldar list fell in. But based on the records and battle points, this list still got second place. So congrats, which is really interesting, getting second place.
Normally on the final table, you're either playing for first or like fourth.
Yep.
So because if you get bodied hard on the final table, the battle points can drop you down to third or fourth, right? So yeah, but it's
still a 6-point game to finish a tournament. That's pretty wild. Like that's a really good game. To only lose by 6. So congratulations, Paul, on this wonderful showing. Good job on the big beefy list. And the fact that you played Eldar final round shows me that you were planning on this at some point because you have all this tech to fight wizards because you've got the Ezekiel, you've got the Watchers, you know what you were going into and you were ready for it. So congrats on
this
that.
list does not specify what Ezekiel's powers were, which is the only thing I wanted to see because I've seen a couple of lists recently where Ezekiel is taking, he's taking Righteous Repugnance, he's taking like Mind Worm or something. But the other thing is like Engulfing Fear, which is the turn off your OBSEC one. I've seen people take Trephination recently, which is the it's a casting cost 5, so Ezekiel casts it on 4 smite. But if you roll over their leadership on your casting number, then it does flat 3. So basically, So I wish it was targetable, but because like having a source of targetable mortal wounds would really help against wound gated things like Abaddon and Catan. But I have an idea for that, and we can move on. But
that also would be really good because he's Inner Circle. That would also be pretty sweet for just knocking 3 wounds on a guy for martial interdiction too. If you could just be like that guy 3 wounds.
I don't know. I don't know if that would satisfy martial interdiction because martial interdiction requires you to kill them with an attack, and mortal wound and psychic powers aren't attacks technically. So one
Well,
Once
that would
again,
be...
I'll go to the tape, but
Well, at least you could soften somebody up for it. I mean, being able to just be like, here's that. Plus, there's some other... did they change the Aura of Dread on the Interrogators to be... I think they changed it from it giving people negative leadership to...
Yeah, it's you count as being below half strength. You count as being below half strength for the purposes of your whatever that thing's called. The second part of the morale chest that we don't have to worry about.
The combat attrition test.
Yeah.
It shows you how often it comes up because we can't remember what it's called. Sort of like morale checks in general. Yeah. It's like usually things just like they're dead. Like we've been running such small squads for so long, or we're playing so much Deathwing that we don't care about it at all. It's like either my squad's dead or it's Deathwing, so I don't care what the morale phase is.
Okay. So Martial Addiction, score 3 victory points if the selected model is destroyed. Score 3 if it's destroyed by a melee attack. Score 3 if it's scored by a melee attack from an inner circle or Deathwing. Score 6 if the Dark Angels unit or model that destroyed the selected enemy model has not itself been destroyed. So I don't think, you wouldn't satisfy the melee attack requirement, but you could get 9 out of it if you killed it with psychic powers. But anyway, that's not a thing that does not exist. We're moving on. So, yeah.
But it works out. I'm happy to see this result. Get to top table, play for first place, and then in this unusual circumstance where you still actually made it into second, that's also quite an achievement because normally you lose that top game. Yeah, if it's a big event, you're dropping down to like 5th potentially.
Yep.
Which it always leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's like I feel like if you get to that final table, you should just get second because you were there, you had a chance, but the way the pairings are done, the way the system is, it doesn't work out that way very often. But this one time it did. I see here we have this next one. We don't have a list, so I'm just going to say the guy's name real quick.
Yeah. Well, we can
and then you go look
skip
for
the next
it,
one. I'll see if I can pull it up. Yeah. Missed it. We're going to come back.
That's all. There were so many. I'm surprised we didn't miss more. There's so many lists.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to this guy. This is Jason Krug. He got 3rd place at the W4 GT. So we'll come back to Jason in a minute while he's looking that up. So we're going to hop down to the Sunken City Slugfest. This is 33 players, 5-rounder in West Branch, Michigan. Oh, that's not too far from me, July 30th. Jeffrey Keister got 2nd place, so another high 2nd place finished Dark Angels list. We've got a battalion here, so we're seeing some Green Wing. This is exciting.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm excited.
We got Ezreal as the Warlord, no Warlord trait. Ezekiel with Righteous Repugnix. There's that Trephination and the Engulfing Fear. So there's that build you were just talking about. Oh, this is nice. When was the last time you saw one of these? An Interrogator, Chaplain, and Terminator armor.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah, once again, Catechism of Fire. So again, he's buffing the shooting,
and he's got Litany of Faith. So he's fighting off mortal wounds, and he's given the buff to the shooting. And then he has the Wise Orator so that his prayers go off more often. Very good. Assault Intercessors. Oh, yes.
So Assault Intercessors are great because they are they're the cheapest Primaris troop choice. They're 95 points, right? And I honestly, I take them as 100 points because I always put a Power Sword on the Sergeant.
Okay.
Because that +1 strength, -3 AP, and don't forget Assault Intercessors for 2 CP. Them dudes can fight twice.
Yep.
So it hurts pretty hard.
It's a lot of attacks. I've also had a lot of fun with Thunderhammer on the guy too. I've had some people charge into my Assault
Intercessors. Yeah, it's a lot of points, but yeah.
When someone, I had someone, they charged me with a, I can't remember what it was. It was like a Mauler fiend. He charged in there, and he's like, wait, did I just charge the Thunderhammer? I was like, oh, you just charged the Thunderhammer. And since you charged me, I get +1 to hit, so I negate my -1. So here it is. And then I went, and because they're Assault Intercessors, now they fight twice. And this one sergeant with a Thunderhammer smashed the smaller fiend to death by himself. And I was like, oh, that was beautiful. So lots of fun Assault Intercessors. Regular Intercessors with the Stalker Bolt Rifle. So we got the big gun. I remember when 2 squads actually with Assault Intercessors with the Stalker Bolt. So I remember when that was the big deal when you had the 2 wound damage or the 2 damage base gun. That was really popular for a while, especially since it also had a big AP value on it, and it's heavy.
It's still -2, I think. Yeah.
So you still -3 in the Devastator Doctrine. So very, very popular. Here's the new meta, as they say. The Assault Centurion squad is in here with the melta guns.
Love it.
So we see we got
Love
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Centurions. Then we've got 5 Deathwing Knights.
We need to talk more about these Centurions real quick.
All right, go for it.
Here's why this is badass. So these Centurions have Hurricane Bolters each, and Centurions, as well as Dreadnoughts, as well as bikes, benefit from Bolter Discipline. So each of these Centurions is putting 12 bolter shots down range at 24 inches.
Oh, glorious.
So that's 60 bolter shots down range. Right? And each of these Centurions has 2 melta guns. That's 10 melta shots. Think about that.
And then they have the giant... Okay. And then they have the big siege drills, right?
They've got the giant siege drills. I'm not going to say I've been working on these little guys, but I've been working on these little guys. I'm going to pull focus on the camera. There we go. Yeah. Giant drills that are the size of their face. So the melt guns are expensive. You can also take them with twin flamers, which is kind of what I prefer because I put the melt gun someplace else. But so the interaction here is, one, they're slow, right? They're and they're not core. But if they stand still, they get +1 to hit. So all those bolters are hitting on 2s. The steady advance stratagem, which makes it so that you count as having not moved, also does not require core. It's just infantry. So for 2 CP, you can move, shoot, still hit on 2s, and when you charge, you still count as being stationary for the rest of the turn. So you're hitting on 2s in combat as well.
Nice.
So, yeah. He's got Ezekiel with Righteous Repugnance. Righteous Repugnance does not require the core keyword.
Right.
Centurions, under the effect of Righteous Repugnance, just smash face. It's unbelievable what they do. I played this a couple weeks ago with 3 of them because that's all I had, and oh my god, it's gross.
And this is some new tech, though, right? Because this was not an 8th edition thing. Like, this came in 9th edition.
We did have access to them in 8th edition because they were only in the Space Marine book. They weren't in the Dark Angel book. So now that we're a supplement to the Space Marine book, now we have access to them. One other thing I want to point out about Centurions that you may not remember. The Sergeant has a thing called an Omniscope, which means that him and his entire unit ignore cover.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good, too.
So, all those bolters, all those flamers, I don't care if you're in cover. I don't care if you're in dense light, whatever. Like, you're going to take some saves, right? And then AP minus, and Tactical Doctrine, it's all AP -1, right? You're ignoring cover, so you're putting most Marines back to at least a 3. Or Xenos go to a 4. Charge this unit at your own risk, because all that DACA and the flamers potentially. This guy's got Melta, just to make them a little more flexible. And man, and plus they're 2-up save in cover. That's a 1-up save with armor contempt. They're just going to be hard to dig out. If Azrael's next to him, then they have a 4-up invul save. If that ever even becomes necessary. An Apothecary makes them just really hard to shift. You bring them back to life. You want you're concerned about how slow they are with that 4-inch move. I don't care. One of them dies. He gets back up. These guys are on like 50 millimeter bases, right? So you basically get 3 inches of free movement whenever one of these things dies, because they die. You put it back 1.9 inches away from the other guys towards wherever you want to be, and that base is a solid 2 inches wide, right? So you can get almost 3.5, 4 inches of free movement. So there's a lot. There's a reason I bought 3 more of these things, because I kind of arrived at the same conclusion that this guy did after playing with 3 of them. I need 5. So
nice.
Anyway, rant over. I love where this is going.
Well, and I think it's like I said, I'm excited about the fact that with the way we're doing codexes now, we actually have access to this, because we didn't used to, and that was one of those things when we went to 9th edition. I was like, wait, we get Centurions now? And it's just, they've been on the back burner. There was some bad memories. on people. The loss of core, people were kind of backing off of them, but like you said, there are a lot of things that don't need core.
Don't need it.
We don't need core to interact. So until somebody FAQs that, we're just going to run with it. Right? Yeah. Am I right? Because the drill itself, what's the stats on the drill is what's ×2, like a neg
times
3
2
or
strength,
4,
×2 neg 4, 3 flat damage, no penalty to hit. So it's strength 10,
so good.
AP 4, flat 3, and once again, in like when they stand still, like on the second and subsequent rounds of combat, they're hitting on 2s, man. Like bonk bonk, and even if you charge, if they get righteous repugnance, they're re-rolling everything.
Yeah.
So like you go into Scorpec Destroyers, they do their little whirling onslaught. Oh, I'm wounding you on 2s at -1. I'm wounding you on 3s. I don't even need righteous repugnance to just F down that whole unit. I charged a Chaos Land Raider at T9 with these things. Murdered it. I charged a unit of Obliterators with these guys. Murdered them. Don't care. Just holy crap. So, one last plug for this unit. Because they're Greenwing and they're infantry, they benefit from Grim Resolve. So in the very likely event that you don't kill them in the first round of combat, they can shoot their guns.
Oh, no. Yeah,
all those hurricane bolters and those flamers aren't blast, baby. They're just,
Oh, so, no. No.
Yeah. And once again, Ezekiel may be next to him, so they're going to get the +1 attack from Ezekiel's Book of Salvation. Yeah, anyway. I'm really feeling Centurions these days, and I'm gonna obviously I've got 3 of them on my desk right now, which I just showed you. More to come later. Anyway, let's keep going on. Obviously, this guy is some sort of rare genius, but we're. So next to the Centurions, the 5 Centurions, he's got 5 Deathwing Knights. Once again, the Knight Master has a Mastercrafted Flail, because why not? You always And then he's got the Chief Apothecary on a bike.
With Plasma Talons.
Yeah, with a Plasma Talon. And then, here's the other part of this.
God.
He's got 5 Eradicators with heavy Melter Rifles.
Ooh, the big ones.
What's the difference, Bailey, between heavy Melter Rifles and regular Melter Rifles? Little quiz time.
Isn't it that I feel like it has to do with the damage. Like the damage is a lot bigger.
You are correct. So a regular Melter Rifle, which you see most people with, is it's Assault 1, 24-inch range. AP, it's a Melter profile. AP 4, Strength 8, damage D6. Half range, it's D6 +2. So heavy Melter Rifles are heavy 1, 24-inch range. They're Strength 8, AP 4. Their damage D6 +2. If you're within half range, their damage D6 +4.
Ooh. Yeah, that's night killing weapons.
That's and once again, they still have the whatever the name of the rule is, where they get to shoot twice if it's at the same target.
So single-minded obliteration or something like that. Yeah,
10 shots going down range. D6 +2 at 24. D6 +4 in half range. Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty beefy.
I'm gonna look. Did he actually give Azrael a? Did he actually give Azrael?
He did not give Azrael Warlord.
The brilliant strategist, but that's actually a reason to give them brilliant strategists, because they could just keep them in the Devastator Doctrine and throw AP -5 downwind all time. And with Azrael as the target for the reroll to hit, because there's another unit we haven't talked about yet. Centurions can't benefit from it. The Deathwing Knights honestly don't need it because they hit on 2s anyway. And they can probably take the Righteous Repugnance. So giving these guys a reroll to hit is a real good play. So
the final unit is another one of Heath's favorites.
The last unit, which is 10 Hellblasters with Assault Incinerators.
There they are.
So once again, this is just a full-on just FU death bubble. It's just everything hurts everything. You get within a couple inches of it, and you get within 24 inches of this army, and you're gone. Things just vanish.
It's one of those 2,000 points of good stuff.
Like 2,000 points of Dark Angels good stuff. Yeah, so once again, the only thing this is lacking is a little bit of speed.
Yeah.
So where does the speed come in? Well, you can deep strike the Deathwing Knights. Once again, they are perfectly capable of operating unsupported because they hit on 2s normally, right? If they're going into a -1 to hit, +1 to hit with Fury the First, on turn 3, they're going to reroll wounds against everything big or characters, and honestly, they don't need to reroll wounds, so they don't need reroll support, right? They don't really need anything else. So I think that's probably your swing unit, like your flanker. But man, like all these Centurions, all these Eradicators, all these Hellblasters, they can actually fan out a bit and have a pretty big footprint, cover a lot of ground. So,
and don't forget, there's a Chaplain Terminator armor that has Catechism of Fire that he's throwing +1 to wound around on those plasma guys and the Eradicators and the melted guns and all those bolter shots. Oh god!
So I did this once. I started building a list like this after my last tournament, and if you throw that Catechism of Fire on the plasma, like if a plane flies over you, like it's gone, it's dead. Like they try and deep strike on you, they're dead. It's just +1 to wound on those Eradicators or the plasma or the Hellblasters is just so good, right? So the only downside to Greenwing is their secondary play isn't quite as obvious. So they don't get credit for killing everything because they can't take Death from the Wind.
Right.
And Engage in All Fronts isn't a super good play for this list. I think this list could take Shock Tactics, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think this list could probably take Banners because all your Intercessors are just going to be raising banners. Hell, your Centurions can raise banners. It's like, what do you do? Kill them? And this list could also most likely take Oaths of Moment. So if you take Oaths of Moment, you go sit in the center of the board. What are you going to do? Kill 5 Centurions and 5 Deathwing Knights off the middle of the board? You only take Oaths of Moment, though, if the mission has an objective in the middle of the board.
Correct.
So we should probably at some point sit down and do a whole segment on like objective play for Greenwing because it's a little less obvious, and I'm not prepared to discuss it at length at this point. But it's just because it takes a little bit more thought than Deathwing or Ravenwing. So anyway, that's a great list. I'm a huge fan. This is very much in line with kind of my thinking for Greenwing, just because I like playing Greenwing historically. But so I'm super into this. Big props to Mr. Jeff Keister.
On it.
I love it.
Big second place finish. Love it. So we're going on to the Grand Battery, which is a 28-person 5-round GT in Gibraltar. It was also on July 30th. Salvador Prados was playing Dark Angels, and he got 6th place. So we've got an Outrider here with Samael, Talon Master, Arbiter's Gaze. We've got Ravenwing Champion. He's the Chapter Champion, Reliquary of the Repentant. That'll be interesting to see how that goes with the Demon saves now, where that doesn't affect the Demon save. That'll be interesting to see where that goes.
I talked about this with a friend of mine the other day. He still thinks that with Catan and like the Silent King and Gilliman running around out there, he still thinks that's necessary. I'm not as much on it because the 4-up involved stuff that you absolutely need to kill is getting a little less common. But all right.
We got a classic here, 3 attack bikes with multi-meltas. Love that classicness. 3 land speeders with heavy bolters. Another 3 land speeders it's a land speeder with heavy bolter, a land speeder with a heavy bolter. Got it.
Yeah.
And then 3 vengeances with heavy bolters, 2 dark talons to wrap up that Outrider, and then there is a patrol with Ezreal as the warlord, no warlord trait listed, interrogator jump pack chaplain that has mantra of strength, the redemption.
The Mace of Redemption. The Mace of Redemption. That's the one that kills chaos. Yeah, it does 2 mortal wounds to chaos.
Yeah. So he must have a lot of chaos in his meta, because that's the only reason why you would take that one. It's good. It's very good, but it is definitely a people play chaos in my meta, so I'm taking this, because otherwise the Benediction of Fury is a little more generalist.
I agree. I had a similar conversation with a guy yesterday who was tooling up for lists. Like, look, man, unless you got a lot of chaos in your meta, and that's a specific problem you have, then the Benediction Fury I think is just better, because flat strength, flat 3 damage with strength 8 on the chart, like, yeah, that's where you need to be. But
we've got some infiltrators here, very nice.
And with the Helix Gauntlet. The Helix Gauntlet's a key play. Well, no, so the Helix Gauntlet does is it makes the first failed save 0 damage. I think it's every phase or every turn.
So this is where you have the potential to do Stubborn Defiance then, right? Because you can't do it on something in your own deployment zone, so you have the squad that can go out and do that.
True. Yeah, it's still a risky play based on the change to how, like, so the unit that starts the Stubborn Defiance has to be the one that finishes it. And so if you tell me that, hey, 15 points is tied up in me killing this one 5-man unit of bros, like, I'm going to work real hard to kill those 5 guys.
Yeah, especially if you're playing Imperial Guard and they're like, all of my artillery, that spot, annihilate.
Yeah. So there's an argument for, it gives you the option to do it. I don't know if you're ever going to take that option, but yeah, Helix Gauntlet works once per turn, not once per phase.
Okay.
So, okay. But I like infiltrators not just for that, but like also for kind of securing your backfield. Yeah. And then once all your opponent's deep track resources are committed, 1 CP, you can pick them up, drop them in someplace else to help you get Nephilim data behind enemy lines, that kind of stuff. So,
and then he wraps it up with a Relic Contemptor with dual Volkite, which is now cheaper and more accessible thanks to the Horus Heresy releases that we have. So,
indeed,
this is no longer a crazy Forge world. Got to drop some serious cash. Got to talk to your bank to do the exchange rate, not cancel the order. You just go to your local store, pick it up in plastic. So, and that is 2,000 points on the nose. Starts with 1 CP, so you have enough CP to Secret Agenda if you want to.
Yep. Yeah, and let's say the multi-melta bikes. So once again, he's got 3 Landspeeder Vengeances. See above, read my concern about that model. If you can soften things up with it and then finish them off with something that has moved more than 12 inches, I think that's probably the right play. Yeah.
So good job, Salvador, in that 6th place finish out of 28.
Mm-hmm.
That was Gibraltar, right?
Yeah, real quick though, what do you think the Contemptor is here for? What role do you think that's filling in this list?
Well, the Volkite, that's the one that's got a lot of shots and a lot of mortal wounds, right? That's what people been running that.
So each gun is 8 shots. It's strength 6 or 7, AP nothings, 2 damage. But when you roll a 6 to wound, it does a mortal wound in addition. So, and obviously, Dreadnoughts are hard to kill. They have Armor Contempt. They have Duty Eternal. So -1 AP, -1 damage, 5 up invul. So what I personally think is that he's there to keep Azrael safe, because he provides vehicle level lookout, sir, as well as 1 CP. You can turn him into a lieutenant. So that's one of the things I really find myself trying to put Dreadnoughts into my lists, because they can perform that function in a pinch of being a 4th support character. If I don't have,
because there's nothing there to actually screen for Ezreal outside of that Contemptor, because the infiltrators aren't going to stand next to him.
I mean, they can, but the Vengeances could, but yeah, like when everything moves out, because this list is super fast, right? But Azrael's probably not going to stand up next to the. Yeah, so I think the Contemptor is one way to help just kind of anchor Azrael and keep him alive. So
that was in Gibraltar. So Bogota, which is in Colombia, so South American tournament here. This is one of the first times we've seen this.
Bogota, Colombia. Yeah.
Yep. We've got this 36-person 5-rounder, Marcelo G. Lara Vega.
I can tell you're not from the South. You don't have any Spanish to you. All right.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
That's 4 years of school down the drain.
Yeah.
I have to have my brain in like a specific way to get all my Spanish right. Because then you use like Marcelo. You can also Castellano, the Marcelo as well. But he is running a Vanguard. He's got the Deathwing Ancient with the Pen of Remembrance, Storm Shield Thunderhammer. We've got the Apothecary, Deathwing, Selfless Healer, and the
Deathwing
Apothecary is the Warlord.
Yep. So that way, Selfless Healer. Yeah, that's all. Interesting. That's all he has. Oh, yeah. Normally, the big advantage of doing that means that you can put the second Warlord trait on him with Paragon, but he has not done that here, which is interesting.
The other thing is if you run the Deathwing command squad, which he has here outside his force organization, which I think is an error, it should be in his force organization, is that you can ping those out, so you actually get more slots because now that those two characters,
the Ancient and the Apothecary don't count towards your elites.
Whereas if you were running the Ravenwing one, you have to run Black Knights to do that. So
which are more expensive.
Yeah, and the Deathwing ones are cheaper just in general. Then he's got Baal, which is Belial, however that is.
I don't know.
He's in here, so he gives you the Chapter Master rerolls on your Deathwing units. Then we have Jump Pack Chaplain with a Thunderhammer. Ooh, that's new.
That's old school. That. That's an 8th edition model right there. Is what that is.
Oh, and he has
I've had one of those. Yeah.
He's watched, so he has the auto deny. So must have been worried about wizards. He took the auto deny warlord trait once per game. Then we have 5 knights with Watch in the Dark, Deathwing Knights. The sergeant doesn't have anything special in the sergeant. Then we have
does not mastercrafted. Yep.
We have regular squad of Deathwing Terminators with a Watch in the Dark. Thunderhammer Storm Shield, Thunderhammer Storm Shield. That reminds me, I've not seen a single teleport homer anywhere because no one's running. There's no assault or regular squads. They're all the Deathwing squads with the Watchers. So that's something I've noticed is a change from the last couple of months. A lot
more people. Yeah, they're looking for the. Yeah, I don't know if that's because they don't think they need it or they want the functionality of having the Cyclones and the mixed weapons, or if they want the Watchers. Some combination of those. Like there's some evolutionary pressure pushing people away from it because this is a lot of lists with no teleport homers.
Yeah. So we've got Thunderhammer, Cyclone Missile Launcher, Chain Fist, and Stormbolter. Chain Fist is becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, there's no reason not to take a Chain Fist. They're the same price as a Power Fist with 2 additional points of AP and flat 3 damage to the vehicles. Take Chain Fists every single time if you would otherwise take a Power Fist. There's no reason not to. D3 damage is actually better, in my opinion, now because there's so much -1 damage running around out there that you want the chance to roll a 3, right? And then the vehicles, like Chain Fists just beat down Dreadnoughts. They beat down vehicles. It's especially because you're rerolling wounds. It's so gross. But yeah.
And then we have the squad 2 more times, it looks like. And then here's the assault squad with the teleport homer. I speak and you shall receive.
So, fun fact, we're reacting to these live. We have not preloaded this other than to like put them into one place for the show notes. So, all right. So there's 3 Deathwing Terminator squads with 2 Thunderhammer Storm Shields, a Cyclone with a Chain Fist, and 2 other Stormbolter Chain Fists. That squad 3 times. And then the Terminator Assault squad with 5 Thunderhammers and a Teleport Homer, and then another Assault Squad with 5 Lightning Claws, 5 Twin Lightning Claws,
and the 5-point Teleport. So there are some Teleport Homers, and I like it. And I think this was the one. I think he was playing Death Guard in the final. This was a final round matchup. And he was playing Death Guard, which I also thought was interesting. That it was Death Guard and Deathwing in the final. And
nothing's
going
to die. It's not just nothing dies,
He won 68-61. So we have a tournament win this month, Heath.
Do you know... that's good. Do you know if that Death Guard list had Mortarion?
That is a good question.
Hold on. I can go look this up. Okay. I can go look it up. Marcelo, this is the Bogota. Do I still have that list pulled up?
This is one of those classic lots of Terminator lists we talked about Charlie Andre when we had him on the show earlier in the year, and there's definitely the different mix. I like the how this is versatile in the weapon choices where we're seeing the mix of all the weapons and all the different squads. But I do like the fact that I like movement shenanigans, so I'm happy to see that there are some of the regular assault squads with the teleport homers, because that opens you up to do some kind of goofy things that people aren't expecting, where because you can also teleport homer onto characters, which is something I think people don't think about sometimes, but that's one of the little bits, is that it does ping off a character. So you have a character all by himself somewhere, and you need to redeploy around them, or they're sitting on an objective or in a good piece of cover. You can start bouncing Terminators into that squad or into that spot, and 5 guys with lightning claws and 5 guys with thunderhammers and storm shields. That's pretty hard to move out of anywhere.
All right, sorry about that. My camera battery died, and I got to switch back to the old school webcam instead of my fancy new camera. But all right.
So did that Death Guard list have a Mortarion in it, Heath?
I don't think it did. So looking at here, Death Guard Demon Prince, Lord of Virulence, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squads of Plague Marines, just loaded to the 9s. Squad of Poxwalkers, 2 5-man squad of Blightlord Terminators, squad of 3 Death Shroud Terminators, 2 Plague Burst Crawlers, and a Terrax pattern Termite with Volkite. No Mortarion. Okay.
There we go. But the Termite's cool, though.
Yeah. He's got a Tallyman in here, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a Tallyman. I don't... Yeah, so I think the Demon Prince definitely has... Demon Prince definitely has casting. So...
Yeah, he was getting shut down hard.
Yeah.
Shut down hard.
Yeah. So one of the things I've seen people talk about is the use of the Watchers of the Dark is basically if you run into like Thousand Suns or Grey Knight, somebody that takes the Warp Ritual psychic or secondaries, you're just like, hey, I have the option to deny your psychic actions. And that's really what it's for, right? Because what would you rather? You could deny a key like a Doom or like a Tyranid Onslaught or something like that, or just deny a power that's going to get them 4 victory points. Boop, gone.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some options there, but okay, cool.
I like it.
Moving on.
So Killing Fields of Istvan 3. This is a 30-person 5-round GT in. Okay, I thought this was
Canada?
California. It's Canada.
It's Canada, yeah.
Estevan, SK. Is that Saskatchewan?
I think it's a good job, man. I was like, what is... I'm unfamiliar with the provinces of Canada, but I think maybe Saskatchewan. Yeah, that could be. All right.
Yeah.
Any Canadian listeners, please feel free to educate us. We are just humble, simple Americans.
Yes. Give us all the Tim Hortons that you have.
I will take all your Tim Hortons. I'll take all the Timmies.
So, fifth place finish for Corey Crumbly. I was around someone named Carrie all afternoon, so that's why that popped in my head.
Yeah,
and this is another Oops All Deathwing list, according to Goonhammer. So let's see what we got here. We got Vanguard. We've got the Deathwing Ancient outside the Force Org slot, which means we're going to see a command squad in here somewhere.
Indeed.
And the Ancient is watched and has the Pendant of Remembrance. And has Steadfast Example. So he's Paragon of the Chapter, and he's the Warlord. Yep. Amazing.
Love it.
This is amazing. Not even in the Force Org chart, and he's the Warlord.
In case you don't remember what Steadfast Example is, Steadfast Example is Rights of War on crack cocaine. It doesn't turn things that... Okay, so basically what it does is anything that's within range that is core gets... OBSEC. Anything that's already OBSEC is now double OBSEC.
Yep.
So
that's amazing. I love it. I love it so much. So this is where you see I would say you see the shock tactics come in, because we've been talking about this since last month, right?
Yeah, it could be. Now
move him around and he flips things.
But he's a Terminator, so he's not as mobile.
Right.
So that's the downside. But yeah. Okay. Oh, also he's got a chain fist, so your boy's ready to do some work. Okay.
So we've got Ezekiel.
No powers
Lazarus.
Listed. Dang it.
Yeah.
So Lazarus is an interesting choice. I've been talking about Lazarus with some guys, and yeah, you can. So his big thing is he gives you a 5-up aura against mortal wounds, or a 5-up Feel No Pain aura against mortal wounds. And if it's Lazarus himself, it's a 4-up aura, right? And obviously he's a company captain, so he's got the captain aura. But the other thing is his weapon, Enmity's Edge, does flat 4 damage to Psychers. So if you got a lot of Psychers in your meta, then that is something to consider, because that's pretty good. And also, he has a built-in fight on death.
Oh yeah, that's also useful. So, which is like another,
which is also trait. Really good.
Yeah, I like how our characters just have multiple relics and warlord traits just floating around in the rules. It's one of my favorite parts.
All right, so clearly he's concerned about lots of mortal wound spam, so he's taken the tech against that, right? And then, all right, so elites, a large command squad. Yep. So this is a 5-man command squad with 1, 2, 3, 4 chain fists, 1 cyclone, and the sergeant has a power sword. So that's 5 storm bolters, 4 chain fists, and a power sword. Right? And then 10 Deathwing Knights. Oh, hey, look at that. Mastercrafted Flail the Unforgiven. Cool.
I feel so good about building my 10th Deathwing Terminator this month and getting him primed. So now I'll have 10.
There's a lot of Deathwing Knights running around. I'm a fan of the Deathwing Knight meta. Like, this is the 3rd or 4th list we've seen with 10 Deathwing Knights, or at least 5. So, all right. Then
I'm happy to see
10 Deathwing Terminators.
Just remember, they're not OBSEC. Just remember, they are not OBSEC.
Yeah. But don't forget, they have a really nice stratagem, which against like monsters and vehicles, they get +1 AP and +1 to wound.
Yep, very nice.
So I used that against a Khitan Ravager a couple weeks ago to great effect, because you flip them into the Assault Doctrine for 1 CP. Then you use that stratagem on them, and those AP2 maces of redemption, or maces, all of a sudden your Mace of Absolution all of a sudden turns into AP4. Strength 8 +1 to wound. 3 flat damage. Get wrecked, nerds.
That's pretty good.
Just, ouch. Yeah. So anyway, 10 Deathwing Terminators. Once again, 9 Chain Fists, 2 Cyclones, Storm Shield, Thunderhammer on the Sergeant.
And a Watcher in the Dark.
Then a Ravenwing Apothecary with the usual kit, Selfless Healer, Plasma Talon. Then it looks like Relic Terminator squad. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Relic Terminators, which is interesting. All Combi Bolter Lightning Claws, and a Grenade Harness. And the Grenade Harness is interesting because it's not a grenade weapon. It's an assault weapon, so you can shoot it in addition to your Combi Bolter. Right?
Nice.
And then, so that unit is 209 points, and there's another 6-man unit of Relic Terminators with the same loadout, so for a total of 1,998 points. So
I feel like
6,
that's where
12,
those extra Terminators are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So there's 4, looks like 3, 4 Cyclones, 10 Deathwing Knights. So this list, once again, I think this list is going to struggle a little bit with mobility. Once you teleport those 2 relic bricks in, you're kind of committed to where they're going to be. But the Penitent of Remembrance, I think you're going to keep the 10 Knights and the 10 Deathwing Terminators like together. And then I guess you've also got the command. So you got 3 kind of mobile little moving guys. Ezekiel and Lazarus don't need a whole lot of babysitting because they're both Deathwing. So you can teleport these 2 relic bricks in, maybe teleport the command squad in, and you've got, or keep the command squad back with its Cyclone to guard your home objective. And then, that
was what I was going to ask you. Do you think all these lists that have the Cyclones, they're not deep striking those, right? However, if they do deep strike the Cyclones,
you can do the Deathwing Assault.
They do benefit from that, which is fun.
I don't know if that's worth it. Like, it's just, it doesn't really seem, I don't know. I remember Charlie telling us that the math on Deathwing Assault plus First of the Fall, or First of Fury the First, just doesn't really work out in your benefit. You're spending 2 CP to make some shooting a little better, and as hard as CP are to come by a Nephilim, I don't think it's going to be worth it. So, but yeah, I mean, it could. The +1 to wound with Stormbolters, honestly, would probably be more effective. But mean, hey, if the Cyclones, sure. I think that stratagem costs 3 CP if it's more than 5 models, by the way. I don't know.
Okay. So you're thinking that any unit that we've seen so far with the Cyclone missile launcher is starting the game on the board,
or at least they combat squad it and keep the 5 on the board.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, so that way they've got their range shooting already established. So
that's fair.
Let's see. Deathwing Assault. No, Deathwing Assault is just 1 CP. 1 CP for Deathwing Assault.
It used to be that way, though, where
it used to be that way in 8th edition, yeah, where the size of the squad mattered. So, okay.
And that was just a straight up shoot twice. That's what that was. And that was fun.
So that's clearly better. And it was out of phase shooting. It was in your movement phase. Yeah.
And you could put 2 Cyclone missile launchers in your squad. And
yeah. So, all right.
It's so much fun.
So, I think the theme that I'm kind of seeing play out through this is that Deathwing lists are definitely not dead. We were kind of poo-pooing on them a couple weeks ago with Adam on the show, but they are proving us wrong, right? Which is great.
And that's cheaper.
fine. So I would like to see information about the secondaries that were taken by all these lists. I think grind them down is probably a pretty good choice because Deathwing units are hard to kill. Grind is just kind of an obvious choice. Behind enemy lines is also a potential take, and martial interdiction is always great because anything you kill is going to count. Like, you can kill it with any unit in your army, it's going to count. So that's kind of where I'm thinking on that. Might be possible to play shock tactics with it, but you'd have to be real on point on your movement phase. So,
agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congrats, Corey, on that 5th place finish in this lovely list of yours. Because like I said, I'm digging that Paragon of the Chapter Deathwing Ancient. That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, Feast of Blades. This is GT. This was a 34-person 6-round GT. So this is the first 6-rounder I think I've seen so far today.
In the Netherlands.
We're global. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Dark Angels.
Amersfoort.
Fans, we are global. I'm loving it. So how do we pronounce this name then if it's Netherlands?
I'm going to assume that this individual's name is Wim Out.
Is it not that like the Germanic the W becomes a V thing? So
it could be. I don't know, man. I'm Vimoots. Yeah, okay.
Comment below.
Let's go with that.
Comment below.
Like I said, we are simple, humble Americans, and I've spent most of my life in the Pacific, and so European languages and pronunciations are lost on me, for which I apologize. So, yes. All right. So let's move on. What?
Heath, there's an Inquisitor in this list.
Okay.
Let's go. Oh, let's see. He's got a chainsword, grenades, the Scourge, Hereticus the Scourging. So I don't know what that is. I don't know anything about Inquisitors.
The Scourging. I can look it up real quick.
He's Ordo Hereticus, so he doesn't like chaos. He's got Inferno Pistol.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's a spell.
Scourging is a spell. Scourging is a spell. I just got to look up what it does real quick.
This is a patrol, by the way. Dark Angels patrol with an Inquisitor. Amazing. Oh, it does my soul good. We have an Ezekiel with Mindworm, Aversion, Engulfing Fear. Okay, so this Aversion, that's the -1 to hit, and then if you're within 6 inches of Ezekiel...
-1 attack, yeah.
And then Mindworm is the fight last... Yeah.
Okay.
That's what that one is.
Do you want to know what Scourging does?
Oh, I am waiting with great anticipation.
So according to Battlescribe, so apply whatever level of trust that you want. It says, has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 12 inches of the Psyker. Until starting next Psychic phase, subtract 1 from the attacks characteristics of models in that unit to a minimum of 1. Roll 2d6 if the total is equal to or greater than the highest leadership characteristic in that unit. Until start of the next Psychic phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So That is going to stack very nicely with Aversion.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, that's a cute unit of. That's a nice unit to possess you have there. Shame if something happened to it.
Oh,
that's a cool piece of tech right there. That's a cool piece of tech. That's within 12 inches. Aversion has a 24-inch range. But, let's see what we got to keep this Inquisitor safe. And then maybe eat a Dark Angel Bolt Pistol after the match because they saw something they weren't supposed to see. But anyway, it's okay. So Inquisitor with Scourging and Smite, Ezekiel that we discussed. So troops get a squad of 5 Infiltrators with a Helix Gauntlet, a squad of 5 Intercessors with Auto Bolt Rifles. Those are the Assault 3 ones.
Yep.
And then Elites, you have your Chief Apothecary, Selfless Healer, which we've only seen not in the list once today. Then Fast Attack, you've got a squad of 2 Attack Bikes with Multi-Meltas. Right? Then you've got 5 Inceptors with Plasma.
Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, pew, laser, man. Yeah, that squad, remember, each of those guys has 2 D3 shot blast plasma guns. So basically, it's a half-range assault D3 plasma cannon. So into a unit of 6 or more models, that unit is going to put out 30 shots. Because it's not a 2D3 shot per model, it's 2 D3 shots per model with blast. So each one will get 6 shots, which is gross. If you are worried about crowd control for like Necrons, this is the unit that does it.
I was going to say, like, the last time I played Necrons, I saw Big Squad Wars. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do to kill that. And then I shot at it with my Inceptors, and they killed them all
that's what does
easily.
That's what does it. That's what does it. Yeah. So, all right. So your 5 Inceptors. Cool. Next, we have a Vanguard detachment. So that's our patrol. So Vanguard detachment. Azrael, who's the Warlord. Right? A Blade Guard Ancient.
Ooh,
with Decisive Tactician, and he's the Chapter Ancient, and with the Pennant of Remembrance. So here's what this does. So the Pennant of Remembrance obviously is going to make some Deathwing Terminators much harder to kill. So the Blade Guard Ancient buffs Blade Guard. He has the power. He basically gives Blade Guard +1 to hit. Why you take the Blade Guard Ancient over the Deathwing Ancient is because he's 20 points cheaper. So he's 85 points base instead of 100, right? And Decisive Tactician. Yes, and he's a 6-inch move instead of a 5. That being said, he doesn't have a weapon to fight with, right? He just bonks you with his pennant, but that's fine. Decisive Tactician, however, is nice piece of tech. Once again, see our previous episode. +1 to advance and charge, which really makes those Deathwing Terminators have a little bit of spring in their step. All right, so I've got a big unit of Deathwing Terminators here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Chain Fists and Stormbolters, and the Sergeant has a Thunderhammer and Storm Shield.
Yep. That's where also 5 Knights.
Yep. 5 Deathwing Knights, and then 5 Relic Terminators with Combi Bolters and Lightning Claws. So this is a nice little like hard core that's going to cluster probably around Azrael, that Blade Guard, and Ezekiel. And then anything you charge into that is going to be under the effect of Aversion and probably Scourging. So they're going to be -2 attacks.
Ugh.
So best of luck getting through that.
And a neg 2 on the stack.
And potentially at least a -1, potentially a neg 2. Once again, if it matters, neg 2 doesn't always matter. But yeah, that's pretty tasty. That's an interesting interaction that I hadn't picked up on. I have another Inquisitor thought that I've started writing to my list, which we can talk about right after we're done with this list, because I think this is our last one. Oh my god, no, it's not. We got one more. Holy crap! There's so much to talk about. All right, so 5 Inceptors. So the thing about Inceptors is, Bailey, what do you think about Inceptors? Do you start them on the board or do you deep strike them?
I've done both, and I've had relative success with both because of how fast they're not as fast as regular jump pack troops, because I think they only move 10 instead of the 12.
Yeah, that's true.
And if they start on the board, you can tag them with the rerolls, and then they move, which is nice. You can run stuff up behind them to buff them, right? You can run a character over for reroll ones or reroll wounds, depending on what it is. Um, and I like that part where you can jump them on things, and they're pretty tough. They benefit from their Gravis armor, so they benefit from the Gravis armor strat that you get bonus,
which does interact with armor contempt. So you can get +1 to your save, -1 AP if they're in cover, toughness 5, and they can have Azrael's 4 pinball save. So they're just going to be real hard to shift. I personally think that you start them on the board. That's where I'm at, because 10-inch move plus a 18-inch range, 28-inch threat range is a lot, right, on the small 9th edition boards. If you deep strike them in, they're most likely not going to be within range of a character, because you don't have any fast characters in this list. Yep. They are not going to be able to benefit from Azrael's reroll everything bar, because it has to go off in the command phase. And you're not able to use the steady advance on them, because that stratagem cannot be used on something that arrived from reserves.
True.
So if you want to deep strike them, you would have to basically make it so you can drop them in range of a character, basically in range of Azrael, or you drop them onto an objective and then pay the CP to let them shoot after they've dropped in, right? So they can do an action, right? So they can drop in, deploy teleport homer. Sorry, there is no deploy teleport homers anymore. Drop in, retrieve Nephilim data, shoot. I don't see that being a deep play, though. I see him starting on the board.
Well, and it's a big floor temple, right? Because they're the 5 guys on a big base. You might, you're going to find out.
I think they're on 40 mil bases,
Yeah, the only place you're going to be able to deep strike them is on your half the board, right next to your character, so you might as well just put them on the board anyway.
Yeah. Now, one thing else to keep in mind, because they have jump packs, they can benefit from the Hammer of Wrath stratagem. So you charge in 1 CP, you can roll 5 dice and potentially do mortal wounds to things you charge. You just have to roll above their toughness, at or above their toughness. So, and I've had that work out to my benefit to kill like Necron wraiths and stuff like that. So, out of sequence mortal wounds. Back out. Yeah,
that'll be easy to kill some guardsmen going forward.
Yeah, just roll in kill 5 guardsmen and then beat up the rest of them. So. Yeah, so that's one of the 2 kind of fast flanking units this list has. The 2 bikes squadron, and then 5 Inceptors, and then this hardcore of Deathwing, 5, 10, 20 Deathwing Terminators, 5 of which are Knights. Yeah, this is an interesting list. I think it's a good mixed play, because it's going to be able to move as one brick, kind of fan out a bit, and it's got 2 fast flanking units. Azrael's going to throw his reroll aura on the attack bikes on turn 1, so they can shoot out, do multi-melta stuff. Probably keep the Inceptors screened behind cover for a little bit longer while you develop the position of all your Deathwing bubble. And then another interesting piece of tech for Inquisitors is that actually lets you take Warp Ritual as a secondary. Because I don't care if the meta or the matchup doesn't call for that scourging power. I can just, my 60-point Inquisitor can cast Warp Ritual every turn, so Ezekiel isn't being wasted casting Warp Ritual.
Right.
Because I build my army around Ezekiel's powers. I don't give a crap what that Inquisitor does.
Right.
That's the other piece of flexibility. This opens up another secondary play for you. Especially if you're playing into an army that doesn't have Psychic or any way to interact with the Psychic phase. So.
No, I like it. All right, so congratulations to Vim or Wim, however it is. Please let us know below on your 3rd place finish in the Netherlands. Congratulations. It's pretty sweet. So, SwordCon, Warhammer 40,000. It's 28-player 5-round GT in Cape Town. Western Cape.
Cape Town's South Africa, right?
But South Africa is not ZA, as far as I know. Is that
in Afrikaans? It might be. I don't know.
That's true.
We're learning a lot about the world in today's episode.
I'm excited. I was telling Heath when I was looking at this earlier that we are global, and this is. I said that earlier in this podcast, so I guess I'm dumb. But I'm just loving the fact that this is just the thing. This is what I love about doing this podcast about playing Warhammer in general, is that you can go to Colombia, you can go to the Netherlands, you can go to South Africa, and you can play 40K Australia with Adam, New Zealand, and people are playing 40K. I have the guy in South Korea that I know that was playing 40K there. Like, you can, it is an expensive hobby. It is time consuming, but man, you just can't go to South Africa and play American football now, can you?
Yeah.
But you can go play 40K.
That's true. Sorry, I have confirmed that the abbreviation ZA is in fact South Africa. So,
okay.
Yep. So, all right, this is Cape Town, South Africa.
So, it's third place finish for Michael Higo. This is another all Deathwing list according to Goonhammer. So, this is the Vanguard to get started. No Inquisitors, sadly, but that's all right.
Well, you can't do that. You can't do that in a
Vanguard.
In a Vanguard, you can only do that in a battalion or brigade.
Yep.
Maybe a patrol, but but definitely not the specialist attachments. All right.
No, that's correct. I just got I'm still just so excited about it. I'm like, let's see another one. So here is the Benediction of Fury that we were talking about earlier on as a relic. So not as much chaos, I'm assuming, in the meta if you're running the Benediction over the Mace of Redemption. Master of Sanctity, Litany of Hate, Litany of Faith. So Litany and Canticle of Hate. So this guy's deep striking in. He's helping people get into combat. No Mantra of Strength. But he is trying to stop mortal wounds from happening. So
notice that he doesn't have Wise Order listed. No Wise Order.
That is true. There's no Warlord trait on this guy.
Yep. Trying to keep his Warlord traits cheap. But there is a librarian.
A regular librarian.
Regular ass librarian. With a Virgin, Righteous Repugnance. Virgin, Righteous Repugnance, and a Force Sword.
That's awesome.
So 90 points. Just a dude.
Oh, here we go. Blade Guard Vet Squad. When's the last time you saw one of these? I love these guys. I'm so glad to see them back out here.
A squad of 6 Blade Guard Vets. So what I think this is for, when I see a squad of 6 Blade Guard Vets, you're going to combat squad them, and then I've got 2 really durable 3-man objective sitter units.
Yep.
That's what I think this is for.
No, I can believe it because there's another 3-man squad right there.
There's another 3-man squad. Yes, you got. So if the mission calls for it, so if you're in a hold 2, hold 3, I've got 3 objective sitters. Or if it's a hold 1, hold 2, I got 1 objective sitter, and the other one's going to push. Because 6 Blade Guard veterans under the effect of Righteous Repugnance hurt things really badly. It's
the only way to play.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that it really is almost the only way to play them because without all the buffs, the rerolls, they have a hard time killing things you want them to kill, which is why you bring Thunderhammer's Deathwing Terminators, because the stuff you want to kill with Blade Guard.
Well, in turn 3, depending on, once again, they're Deathwing, so they're going to get the benefit. They're going to get the benefit of whatever the name of that rule is, right? Where they reroll wounds against characters and vehicles in the Assault Doctrine. So on turn 3, you don't need to cast Righteous Repugnance anymore, right? Because they're going to reroll wounds anyway, depending on what they're charging into. But on turn 1 and 2, it's a real game changer. So, all right,
and they also have they have the built-in 4-up can't be wounded. Can only be wounded on the 4-up.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so So next we got a big squad of Deathwing Terminators. So the Sergeant has paired Lightning Claws. Then I've got 4 Thunderhammers. Then I've got 2 Cyclones with Power Fists and 3 more Stormbolters and Power Fists. I imagine that this gentleman probably just doesn't have the models for Chain Fists. Or screw it, maybe say he didn't need it. But yeah, so 5 Power Fists, 4 Thunderhammers, and a Lightning Claw. You could probably break this into 2 units. And proceed as such with the Power Fist sitting back, the Cyclone sitting back, and the Thunderhammers and Lightning Claw moving forward. But yeah. Then the exact same unit again.
Yep.
Yeah, the exact same unit again.
There's something missing. There's a 5-point.
Well, the first squad is 5 points more. What are we missing here?
Did we not copy over a Watcher? It might be 5 points for a Watcher.
It might be it might be a Watcher. That's a good call. Okay, crap. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so he's got that same squad 3 times. 30 Terminators, 6 Cyclones, a bunch of Thunderhammers. Wait, hold up. There it is. The first squad has 4 Thunderhammers. The second 2 squads only have 3 each.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. There's one more. So the second 2 squads have 4 Power Fist Stormbolters, and the first one has 3 Power Fist Stormbolters and an extra Thunderhammer. So, okay. So, nice. 30 Terminators. And 30 Terminators and 9 Blade Guard.
And Ouch. The Apothecary. Obligatory Apothecary.
The obligatory Apothecary. All right. So, I think at this point, once again, you've got the option to combat squad and get yourself a bunch of little units. The Chaplain is going to give you the ability to get +2 charge in an aura and reroll charges. So, not reroll charges. +2 charge is going to be real helpful here, especially if you're going to try and come down out of deep strike on something. It would be nice if you had a champion to reroll the charges. It's kind of like the Charlie Andre style. Secondaries, what are you thinking?
I think again, you can see the shock tactics, martial interdiction, and raise banners. Because if you're sitting on all these objectives, you're going to want to raise banners.
Yeah, banners, and maybe grind.
Yep.
Depending on what you're going into.
Because if you run the big squads, good luck killing those.
Yep. Yeah. So, I don't see. So there is an option maybe to teleport something from behind enemy lines, but there's no teleport homers.
Right.
So yeah.
The other thing to think about too, we're talking about rerolls.
Is probably the thing. Yeah.
Is the Litany of Hate is also a reroll hits. So even if you don't get righteous,
it's a full reroll hits. So yeah, you've got some and. So the cool thing about this is Litany of Hate. You have to chant in the command phase, so you'll know in the command phase whether or not that you've got that aura in place, and that will impact your decision on where the Righteous Repugnance goes, or if you need to cast Righteous Repugnance at all.
Yeah. So I like that. I like the redundancy built in here, especially since you don't have a chapter master level character in this list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So two. Yeah.
There's no special characters in it at all. Which is also interesting compared to all the other lists that we've had. So this is, as much as there are all these lists, they've all got something interesting in them. I like that.
Another very different. So he's really tried to just go cheap on the character support. So he's got the Librarian, the Chaplain, and the Apothecary. So he's down 2 CP for characters based on Warlord traits and relics. So he's going to start the game with 4 CP, which is pretty good, right? Especially because you don't have Azrael. But this is interesting. So this list. So the thing about this is so you've got 6 Cyclones, which is okay. It's not a huge amount of shooting. A lot of Stormbolters. You don't have a lot of shooting to clean up your mistakes. So you're going to have to to play this list, you'll have to be very, very disciplined in the movement phase and very disciplined in the charge and fight phases with how you pull your consolidates and pile-ins and how you position that Chaplain in order to get the pile-ins you need, right? And remembering that your Canticle Hate gives you the bonus range for your pile-in and consolidate. So that's where this list is going to get made or lost. So.
Something else I just noticed I think it's interesting is I think it's also the cheapest list in terms of power level that we've seen today too. Like by a lot.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, 87 power level instead of like 112. So like something that was like 112, 115 because they had just a lot of stuff crammed in there.
Yeah, so I think that's also interesting.
Yeah. So the power level thing is not a complete. One power level is about 20 points, but it doesn't always work out that way, and War Gear affects that a lot. So that could indicate that this is just tooled up with a lot of war gear. The Cyclones cost a lot. They're like 20 points each. So, yeah. All right. That's last list. I would say that the big winners from this last month is definitely the Deathwing. Like, people said Deathwing are dead. Like, get out of here. Like, you can't kill Deathwing. Literally, you can't kill them. That's why they're Deathwing. So, that's interesting. That ran contrary to kind of what we thought the vision going forward was going to be, which is all Ravenwing. We've seen a couple of heavy Ravenwing lists, but this is a lot of Deathwing stuff. And one Greenwing list that I cannot shut up fawning over.
So good.
Interesting ways to play. Stuff. Lots of top 10 finishes. Lots of a couple of wins and top podiums. So it's been a nice month for the Sons of the First Legion, for sure.
It's nice to see that we're competitive. That's all we ask for, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody anywhere can ask for is
in the run.
We're competing.
Yep. Nephilim has really done a great job of kind of levelizing a lot of this stuff. So very nice.
All right. So moving on to the monthly challenge. Last month we wanted to do a character. We wanted to build a character. So I can go first because I've been wanting to build this character for a while. I have built myself a Ravenwing Ancient. We were talking about him last week and how we thought that this might be a fun tool for doing shock tactics. So I thought I'll go ahead and build him. And if you look at him, you might recognize some bits. So to make the banner on the back, I found I wish I turned it sideways now that I did it, because then I could paint the skulls more easily. But it came off of my Landspeeder Vengeance, so I'm pretty sure this bit. It's just one of the little antennas that go on it. And then I took the cape from the Deathwing Knight Master and was able to, because there's enough points of contact on it, because there's 3, to glue it directly to the antenna, and it makes a decent enough looking flag. I could see the problem with this being is that the actual ancient model is like huge. Like that flag is huge, but that's one of the things that I don't like about it, is that I think it's silly that this guy's riding around a motorcycle with this ginormous flag. This seems a little more practical to me to have like a littler one. I'm also thinking about like pricing. Like I had bits laying around to make one of these, and it's more fun for me to just pack stuff together.
Kit bash one together. You don't want to spend you'll buy a Ravenwing Command squad for like $60 or $70 just for one character. I've had to do that. So
especially when I'm only going to play him once or twice and then go, this isn't what I want. I'm not saying that is the case. I haven't tried it yet, but if I play him and go, this isn't what I want, I'm not out $60 for one model, essentially. But a lot of the pieces, they came from the Ravenwing upgrade kit. So like the legs, the chest and the legs with the cape came from that. The backpack came from that. The Ravenwing icon on the top of the power pack, which is one of my favorite aesthetic parts of Dark Angels.
I do like how that looks, yeah.
Their backpack game is amazing, so I love that. And then I cut off the bolters on the front and then cut plasma gun bits off the front of plasma guns, filed them down, and then glued them onto the front. I should have done pistols, because I forgot that pistols actually look better, because it does finish flat, but it is kind of silly how much bigger they are than the end of the bolter, but it works. Plasma pistols, a little bit better.
I had not considered that. Okay, interesting. It gives something to do with all the plasma pistols I have.
Yep. Okay. And then just for funsies, I did some WYSIWYG Ravenwing Chainsword guys, which was also fun. I enjoyed that.
I think we're going to need some of those. Yeah. Okay, well, I kit bashed together and converted up a Primaris scale Azrael model, right? Yeah. And I'm proud of the composition of how this model came out. The painting isn't quite there. I painted this model while sitting in a hotel room in Guam last week, and I had a limited set of kit with me, and I tried to get the cloak with some glazing, and the hotel water just didn't work as a glaze medium at all. So I'm probably gonna have to redo some of that, but see if I can get focus on this. If not, so yeah. So
just send me some pictures.
Yeah, I'll just send you some pictures, but I like how the composition came out. Like the model, like the pose is good. So, and he's a proper beefy boy.
Did you use?
This is High Marshal Helbricht.
Okay.
So it's High Marshal Helbricht with the combi plasma auto bolt rifle from the Sword Brethren kit.
Okay.
Right. And so I had to, like, on his left shoulder, I filed down and like ground off the Maltese cross that they have there, and then I did some converting on the sword. So like he has like the sword is chained to his arm, but I cut all that off and I put some purity seals on there, and I put some Dark Angel bits on his belt, and I put that tilting plate on his shoulder.
Oh yeah,
and obviously important. The helmet. Or sorry, the hooded head, and then the backpack game, as you so eloquently put it.
So strong.
And some streamer things. Yeah, it's I'm probably, and here's the way the back looks. I said
Yeah.
The glazing didn't quite come out the way I wanted it. I'm going to try and work on a little bit more, but yeah. So it's just it's got that like kind of heroic stoic pose that I like in my characters instead of the like this where it's got the sword up in the air. So I'm a fan of how the model came out.
I don't have him on me, but I wonder what you could do with that pose and the sword off the back of Cypher. I don't remember how much of a separate piece the sword is.
It's that does not work because okay. Cypher's sword, half of it is attached to the backpack, and the other half is molded into the cloak on Cypher's cloak.
Oh yeah, that's too much work.
I actually have one sitting over on my table over there that I dremeled out the piece that was on the cloak because I'm going to take your advice or someone's advice, I think it was yours, and try and turn him into an Ezekiel. Like a modern scale Ezekiel.
I turned him into a Phobos librarian, but turning him into a modern Ezekiel would also be cool.
Yeah, because Ezekiel's got that like relic pistol, and so he's got this big fancy looking pistol that he's getting ready to pull out. So I just got to find a book to hang off of him and a sword, and I think I'll be there.
There is a book in the Ravenwing upgrade sprue that's open.
Yes, I am aware. I put that on my Primaris chaplain. I'll see if I can figure out a way to make that work. Like hang it off his shoulder or something, so it's hanging on his left under his left arm. So yeah, I'll see if I can figure out a way to make that work.
Or you could just be really cheesy, like I do some of those things, and just have it sit open in front of him. There's also a smaller book that's in a Deathwing kit because I have a Deathwing character with a small book.
Yeah. Well. You're right. That's true. Okay. Well, so that's that. I built 3 Centurions. I got this nice. I think I already showed it once in the episode, but so I built a Redemptor, and these are the Pop Goes the Monkey, like Dark Angel specific, like pieces of armor for him. And I built 3 more Eradicators because I independently arrived at this one gentleman's list and wanted to play it, and so I am stuffed to see it doing well. I just need to figure out how to actually play the list. But yeah, so that's
so. What do we need to do for next month then, Heath?
Oh man, why you gotta ask hard questions? Next month, do
you want to try and paint some of this stuff that we've built since we've built random things? This month?
Yeah. Let's paint some stuff. Let's paint a unit. How about this? Let's paint a green wing unit, or you can paint that one unit you did because I want to paint my Eradicators and Centurions. So,
all right. I'll put that in the notes. And we will paint a unit for next month. Let's do it.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right. So moving on to community interaction. We have Apollo. He said, what do you guys take on the Jet Fighter over Dark Talon? I always roll a 1 on the Dark Talon when I'm thinking of running the Jet Fighter with the Mega Bolter with the 16 heavy bolter shots and the 2 missile shots. Only thing I'm worried about is the mobility of that jet. Plus, they don't always make their points back compared to just running a storm speeder. That's for those of you who haven't played. For a long time, there was this older game concept of a unit had to kill its equivalent in points for it to be considered good, and so that's what they're talking about there by getting their points back. Is that it has to kill X number. It's weight in points. And that was sort of like the metric people used to use way back in the day. I mean, we still use it, but
I'm not a fan. The idea isn't it doesn't need to get its points back. It needs to score you enough victory points.
Exactly.
So even if it kills nothing, right? If it gets you objectives, if it denies your opponent objectives, then it's fulfilling its role in the game. As far as the Nephilim over or against the Dark Talon, let's just recap real quick. I got it pulled up here. So a Nephilim Jet Fighter is it has the same movement characteristics, basically the exact same stat line, right? So it's ballistic skill 3, 20 to 50 inch move, strength and toughness 6, 11 wounds, 3 up save. So a Nephilim has an Avenger Mega Bolter, which is a heavy 10 heavy bolter. Then it has a twin heavy bolter, so it's got 16 heavy bolter shots. You can replace the Mega Bolter with a las cannon if you want, or twin las cannon, and it has what's called Black Sword missiles. So Black Sword missiles are heavy 1, strength 7, AP 3, 2 damage, and against aircraft they do flat 4. And it has 2 of them. So it also has a rule called Air Superiority. So against aircraft, it gets +1 to hit.
Okay, that's not too bad.
So, yeah.
No, I like that. So you negate the -1 to hit, right? That
basically, yeah. Right, and it's hard to hit supersonic, so it does not have the hover ability like the Dark Talon does. So, so here's the deal. I'm kind of on it. I don't think that the heavy bolter profile into armor contempt is really where you need to be spending points these days. So if you always roll a 1 on the number of shots for your stasis cannon on the Dark Talon, just remember it has blast, and so if you shoot it into a unit of 6 or more, then it will get 3 shots automatically. And that's great. So the Dark Talon is there for a couple things. It's there to control large hordes. So sisters hate Dark Talons. So they've got 1 wound each, and they're toughness 3, and you take big squads of them, right? And you drop. Okay, I get 3 shots. Sure, 2 of them hit. I wound on 2s. Boom, 6 dead sisters. Get out of here. I think it's going to be a real thing into demons, because demons all have 1 wound each and just mortal wounds flying around like freaking fireworks, right? And a
lot of them are T3.
And a lot of them are T3, right? Or even T4. The freaking thing is strength 12 on the Rift Cannon. So like, and then it's got 2 Hurricane Bolters, which once again is how you control hordes. And even then, it's got a D3 mortal wound bomb you fly over. So it's got a lot of functionality. Even aside from that Rift Cannon. And if you're still really having problems with it, try running it as a successor chapter. So run the Master Artisans, so you get to reroll 1 shot, and the Bolter Fusillades or whatever, so you get to reroll 1s to hit with bolters. That combination is tailor-made for Dark Talons, because all your bolters are rerolling 1s to hit, and you get to reroll 1 of the shots on your Rift Cannon.
Yeah,
okay, you lose Jink. I don't care. I have Armor of Contempt. Don't need it. Do not need it. So, yeah, you can build a pretty effective Ravenwing list around that, right? So that's my feelings on that. There you go. What do you think?
I have never played with the Nephilim. It does have the kind of the cool. It has the bazillion shots, which is always better than not having a bazillion shots, but so does the Dark Talon. So I guess it just comes down to a meta choice where if you're facing hordes of Marines, all right, maybe the Mega Bolter is better because it does 2 damage. If you're fighting hordes of T3 models or 1 wound models, like you were saying, with Sisters and Demons, then the Hurricane Bolters, you end up with more shots, so that ends up being a little bit better. I mean, I have to side with the Dark Talon because I have 2 of them, and that's what I know. That's what I like. And plus, on the bomb, it has the thing where you can't fall back once you've been bombed. So there's some utility.
That's the other piece of cool functionality. Yeah.
So I must have replied because we continued the discussion because he replied back to whatever I had said. I don't remember what I said right off the top of my head. He says, honestly, after his talk, so we're talking about Adam, talking about the Storm Speeder here. I never noticed that it was Blizzard Skill 2, so I've ordered 2 and we'll be playing them very soon. I'm very glad I found your channel and watched the video. Looking forward to the next and how the Ravenwing have been treating everyone. So, based on this month's results, you will get
hopefully we've answered that question.
Well.
So, all right.
Awesome. Thank you for the 2 comments. And then Kyle Daniel said, oh man, this one slipped by me. Excellent as always, gentlemen. Thank you, Kyle. We appreciate that. It's nice when these things answer themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Any final thoughts then, Heath?
No. I think I mentioned earlier one thing I've been thinking about Inquisitors. I've been looking a lot at Lord Inquisitor Kyria Draxus, which is an 85 point, I think a Xenos model. And the reason why is 2 things. One, she has a fight last ability. When you charge any unit you charge into, you can make fight last. Okay. But the real reason is she has a rule that lets her target her smite.
Yeah. It's the little dragon right on the shoulder.
It's the little, she's got a little dragon on her shoulder, and she can target her smite. And so I've been looking for ways to be a good solution for wound gated models like Catan and Abaddon and that kind of stuff. And being able to target a smite is something
worth
thinking about.
Grows.
Yeah. So there you go. Just throwing that out there. 85 points, no Forest Orc slot, Age in the Imperium, and if you don't need a targeted smite, she can do Warp Ritual. Just something to think about. So
for those green wing lists, right?
For those green wing lists. For the green wing lists,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so thank you all for listening to this month's episode of the Path to Redemption, the Warhammer 40,000 Dark Angels podcast. Our September episode will come out sometime, probably in early October, based on when we record towards the end of the month. Please subscribe, like, and comment below if you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on your preferred podcasting service. Last but not least, we'd like to thank Purple Planet for the use of their music. Until next time, I'm Bailey from Dankless Wargaming.
This is Heath with Team Table War Hawaii.
Stay loyal, Angels.